Hi guys, Rob Dunn again, and this is the second in a series of plugin training videos that I'm trying to put out for the various plugins that I've put together over the years. I hope to kind of expand this to going over plugins from other developers, just to kind of show how the plugins work, things like that. But right now I'm kind of concentrating on my own because those are the ones that I know the best. So basically, the structure of these videos is going to be, first section is going to kind of go over the problem that I'm trying to solve with the plugin. The next section will be about how to install the plugin, how to do any kind of configuration. And then, of course, the third part will be just showing you the plugin in action. So with all that said, today's video is about the Popup inline attachment viewer for Spiceworks 7.3 and above. Now, a little bit of history behind all this. There was in the past various inline attachment viewer plugins over the years, and there was one in particular that worked pretty well. I don't have the name of the guy who did it, but he put together a plugin that worked relatively well, but had some limitations. And so what I had done was basically there wasn't any updates. A lot of times when I do these plugins, it's because someone else hasn't updated their plugins. So I laugh about it, almost every time I talk about it. But basically, it's one of those things where, I got tired of waiting, so I put something together, and now it's just kind of become my thing that I now maintain for everybody else. So anyway, so this guy had this plugin, and it worked relatively well, but then the new version of the help desk came out, and no updates came, so basically I just rewrote the whole thing pretty much from the ground up. Same type of concept. It works pretty much the same way, plus some additional features that were just not there in the old plugin. So with that being said, here's the problem. You know, as you know, when you attach files into ticketing or into the ticketing system, they just show up here as links inside of the comments section of your ticket. And sure, you can click on these, and it'll download in your browser, and you have to double-click it, and there's the picture. Okay, this is Picasa, so it's showing up in a completely different application. And while that's great and everything, it kind of slows you down as far as your workflow as you're trying to work on these tickets, because now you've got to do a bunch of extra clicks and get into other extra applications, and then it's not super clean. So basically that was a problem. Like, how do we get it so that these images now will show up inline in the ticketing system and you don't have to click out of your help desk view to see those pictures? Well, the answer, of course, is a plugin. And this particular plugin will do just that. It'll create inline attachments. It'll also allow a large preview to show up at the right corner at the top here. So let's go ahead and install the plugin to see how it works. If you've never installed a plugin before, it's very easy to do. Don't click here if you're in the help desk settings. This is kind of something new with 7.3, is they've introduced kind of this contextual menu system up here. So if you're in the help desk and you click on settings, it takes you to the help desk settings. Kind of makes sense when you think about it. But the easiest way to install a plugin is you have to get all the way back out to your application settings. And the way to do that is to click on Dashboard. And then now you can click on Settings. And since we're trying to install an application, I'm going to use the word application and plugin probably kind of synonymously. Basically, when you say plugin out in the Spiceworks community, it's considered to be an application. However, I would counter with anything that is running code inline in the Spiceworks application and not executing any kind of external code against any other services. I kind of consider that a plugin. If you're running something that synchronizes ticket due dates with a calendar system, or you've got some integration with some file storage system like Dropbox, whatever, I would consider that an application. So anyway, we need to click on Manage Apps. We're going to scroll to the bottom. And right now, in version 7.3.00076, to install an application, there is this big plus key or plus button here. I would guess that this will probably change over time, but usually there's some sort of button here at the bottom if you want to install a new application or plugin. So we're going to go ahead and click that. And here is the App Center. Now I will say the App Center is a little cumbersome to navigate. It does a pretty decent job of showing you like the top 10s and whatever the top apps for different categories here. It's not the easiest to kind of sift if you just want to like look at all of the apps and all the plugins. It's not very easy to do. Fortunately, for the purpose of this video demo, my plugin is here in the top apps for the help desk. Thankfully, enough people have downloaded it and liked it that it shows up here. So let's go ahead and click that. And of course, you can do a search here too. You can just simply go pop, and I've already searched for it before, and you can search for it that way. Now you'll see that there are various plugins. And take note of this section here, Helpdesk V1, Helpdesk V1, and then here's mine, Helpdesk V2. Basically, that dynamic helpdesk that you see back here, all this cool information and everything, and it updates real quickly. That's the V2 helpdesk. So this is what we want. Let's click on that. Up at the top, we've got some metadata about the particular plugin. Again, Helpdesk V2 gives you some ratings. These are user ratings that have been applied to the plugin. Amount of downloads, the current version. Here's a see all link, which will show you all the prior versions of the plugin. Perhaps I come out with an update that you don't like. You can click this and you can go back and install an older version of the plugin if you need to. This tells you what version of Spiceworks it is compatible with. If you have a version that is not up to this number designation, then the plugin will not install. And you'll see that again once we click the install button. Down below I've got a quick description, disclaimer. There's really not a whole lot. Rob 5151, that's the guy I was telling you about earlier. There's a disclaimer, there's a summary of information, versioning information, and that's pretty much it. The plugin itself is pretty straightforward. If you really want to see it in action without looking at the video, you can look at these screenshots down below. And of course, I encourage you to write a comment when you're satisfied with the plugin. So let's go ahead and install the application or the plugin. And here it's just telling you basically you're going to install it. Here's the address of the server that you're going to install to. This is my home test server. Down here again, the name, the version when it was released, and the version of Spiceworks that it is compatible with. Again, if this fails, if it says you have a version that's older than this, but in fact you don't, you have a new version, the fix for that is to simply just go back into your Spiceworks application, go to the upper portion of your nav bar, you'll see an envelope, click on that, it takes you to the community, and then go back to the plugin page and try to reinstall. Basically that kind of like synchronizes your plugin version with a community, and it will let it know that you have the correct version. So we're going to install, and here we go. It brings us back to our application listing, and there are some settings, although honestly out of the box you really don't need to configure any of these, but I'll explain to you what these do. This first option here is download full image when image div is clicked. It's referring to the large image preview that shows up at the top right. Just for the purpose of this demo, I'm going to go ahead and click yes on that. And these next two settings basically are saying if you have an image that is less than, in this case, 32 pixels wide or 32 pixels high, the plugin will not attempt to resize it out to, down below it says here 200 pixels wide for your inline comment preview. So when you look at your ticketing system and you go through the comments, there will be an image preview there, and that is going to be 200 pixels wide. If it's a tiny little icon, like a lot of times the ones that you find in signatures like Twitter icons and Facebook and all that junk, the plugin will just ignore those. Down below, we have the 200 pixels wide, and we have one here, desired image width is 600 pixels. That's the width of the preview that will show up at the upper right. And then down below, I have an option here that I don't think is really doing a whole lot at this point. I think I need to take a look at this again. But basically, it's just a max image width setting. So if you've got some picture that just kind of is just crazy huge, like some of these new iDevices, Android devices, they have like 2 million megapixels or whatever. The pictures tend to be quite large. So the idea was here that it would set a max width so that it wouldn't resize larger than what we could handle on the screen. Again, I'm not sure. At this point, I was kind of naive in how all this worked. I'm not sure if it's needed if I've got this setting above. In any case, since we've made this change above at the top, we're going to save. It collapses the settings. And now we're going to go back to our ticket view. And I haven't refreshed yet, but just keep an eye on it here. Here's all of our links for our attachments. I'm going to refresh the page with F5. We're going to scroll down again. And as you can see, we now have image previews. They fall below the image link. You could still use the image link to download if you want. You'll notice that we have a small image here that's probably about 16 by 16 pixels by dimension. And then above that we have a WAV file, which is not a supported preview file. And then it just has kind of an image of just like a shortcut icon type of thing. I will say that in a subsequent version of this, I do plan to include the HTML5 media controls to the plugin, so that if you do have a supported WAV file, and not all of them are supported, by the way, then you'll have the capability of playing that file within the plugin itself. Kind of cool. To me, it kind of clunks up the interface a little bit. It looks a little funky. But some people like that kind of thing. It might be useful for MP3 files or OGG Vorbis files, things like that, where voicemails are sent into the ticketing system. So with that, you can click any of these, and it'll bring up a preview window up here. Note that you can scroll up and down, and the preview will stay in the upper right corner. Simply click the image to make it go away, and there you have it. Now, what about the user portal? In a recent version update of this plugin, I don't know if it was 1.0 or 1.1, I did introduce that capability. So I'm going to go ahead and open up Chrome, and I have it already here for you. So this is the end user view. So they've attached a file. It just shows up here, just similar to in appearance, I guess, as the help desk view. I personally think that the view in the portal is there's a little bit to be desired here. It's a little sterile looking, but they're there. That's what's important. So, and one last thing too. Let's see here. Go back to the help desk. So I have that option turned on. Can I do it here? Yep, there it goes. It downloaded. So that's that download option I was telling you about. And that's pretty much it. The image inline attachment preview thing viewer that I've written, like I said, easy, just out of the box. You just run it, it works. If you have any questions or comments, of course, on the plugin, you can make a comment on the plugin page itself. I would ask, though, if before you rate anything, please open up a topic in the Extending Spiceworks group, so that we can look at it and figure out if maybe it's a configuration issue, or something else is going on. Because the last thing I want you to do is to just kind of rate it and then not even try to get it to work. Not only is that bad for me because that affects my overall ratings, but it's bad for you because then you're left without a solution. So I would ask that you would do that. That way, if you post something in the Extending Spiceworks group, you can post all screenshots and format your text and all that, and it's much better than the comment section for that purpose. Other notes, basically, yeah, if you've got ideas for other plugins or features for this plugin, feel free to reach out to me. I am always open for that kind of thing. I will say, though, I will kind of take a look at it and just kind of figure out if it's going to work for a majority of people. If it's something that a majority of people might want, it'll probably be something that will be implemented. If it's something that's very, very specific, probably not, unless you're going to pay me, to be honest. Man's got to eat. So anyway, that's pretty much it. So if you have any questions about this, reach out. If not, then I'll just see you in the community. All right.